Mama, can't you see? Mama, can't you see? What the love was done to me? What the love was done to me? Standing strong, standing bold. Standing strong, standing bold. Oh, mighty black and gold. Oh, mighty black and gold.
Hey, welcome, bros. How you doing? Welcome to Old Gold Table Talk. Guys, we got a nice show here for you this afternoon. We're going to continue to be talking about brotherhood, especially brotherhood during this pandemic. And guess what? I got some brothers up in here with me. Brothers, how you doing? Welcome to Old Gold Table Talk.
Thank you, brother. Doing all right.
Brother, doing well.
Awesome, guys. Before we get going, guys, we're going to have to tell you what to do first, okay? As you're watching the show, if you are watching this live, just give me a 1 in the comments. Again, if you're watching it live, go ahead and give me a 1 in the comments. If you are watching it, guys, on replay, give me a 9 in the comments. Watching replay, give me a 9 in the comments. So you're watching live, give me a 1. You're watching it in replay, give me a 9. There's 1 9 what? 06. That's what we're talking about, right? Welcome, guys. After talk, guys, you're going to be able to actually go ahead and give us some comments on this conversation that we're going to be talking about brotherhood and in this pandemic. And I got some awesome brothers with me. Brothers, I'm just going to let you go actually around the table, just introduce yourself actually real quick and stuff, and we can roll on in the conversation all around the table. Let's start up with Brother Bernie first, though, since he got everybody started in North Carolina up in here. Brother Bernie.
He is the oldest.
He's the oldest. Go ahead, Brother Bernie.
That's dead wrong. Greetings, Brother James Bernie. I am a Fall 83 initiative at the Beta Epsilon chapter, North Carolina A&T State University. Currently active in as a chaplain in Beta Nu Lambda here in Charlotte, North Carolina.
Awesome.
All right. I'll jump in next. Greetings, brothers. Brother Thomas Turner, Fall 85 initiate of the Mu Zeta chapter, located at UNC Chapel Hill, currently in Beta Nu Lambda, currently the College Affairs chairman.
And good evening, brothers. Brother Marcus Allen, initiate of Spring 2020, Beta Nu Lambda chapter, the Guardians of the Queen City. Also, I am in a committee for education. So yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. Guys. All right. We're going to start this conversation off, right? We want to talk about it. Last week, guys, on our other show, we definitely had a great conversation about brotherhood, what brotherhood means and everything. We had some awesome brothers actually talk to us about that. But what we're going through right now is the pandemic, something new, right? It's something new, and you all brothers is actually new to that. So we got actual brothers that's new to the brotherhood. Okay, myself and actual brother Allen, new to the brotherhood, but also you guys is actually new too. But we all experiencing something new right now. We're experiencing something actually new right now, and let's go ahead and actually talk about it. Oh, hold on, before we actually go and start it, we got VP. We got the VP don't join us up in here.
He finally made it in.
Better slow than never.
Boy, I tell you.
Better slow than never.
I'm sitting here saying, I'm watching, but I can't talk to nobody.
Welcome, Brother Wade. Just give us a little intro about yourself so the brothers actually know who you are, sir.
Understand. Brother Ron Wages, Deputy Dog, Spring 1983, Iota Zeta chapter, University of Maryland, College Park. Currently serving as the vice president of Beta Nu Lambda. and appreciate, every brother here and being a part of this panel.
Awesome. All right, now we can start since Brother Wages is here.
Now part of this.
Now we can start since he's actually here, guys. So let's get actually rolling, guys. We want to really actually talk, guys, about, yes, brotherhood and building brotherhood, but we're all in a unique situation right now, and we're gonna have a conversation about it. About how we can still build that brotherhood that Alpha is so known about. Who wants to begin that conversation? Well, I'm going with Brother Ashley Wages since he came last.
Oh, wow. That's how you do. Okay, that's all right. No problem. So, it's interesting. In the midst of the pandemic and being everything virtual, it is clearly presented as challenges. The fact that we've got technology allows us to do something. I'd be lying if I said it was the same. Some of the brothers, know that I'm, real close with some of my line brothers still. And one of my LBs is going through it right now. Really going through it. To a point where, he's having some real mental issues. And, it's really hard because I can't just jump in the car and roll up there, or one of my line brothers that's close by, overweight, high cholesterol, diabetes, everything else. He said, dude, if I get COVID, I'm done. I can't go. And it is, it's been a real challenge, but using the technology, text, emails, phone, everything, the brotherhood still came together. I got a chance to, get in contact with Brother Ward, Everett Ward, past general president. And, within 90 seconds, he gave me 3 names of Alpha brothers in the DC area that were psychiatrists that, my line brother could talk to try to engage. And, when I say that he's going through, I mean, he's going through it for real. Like, I'm concerned that he's going to be around. But it has been a challenge. The key item is that, you do what you can, you learn some things. I never heard of what even platform that we're on today. Now I know what it is outside of Facebook. We get different things and we do different things to try to connect and make sure that we keep it going.
Awesome. Have you seen, Brother Turner, difficulties as far as being online? I know that you're on line a lot on different platforms and things of that nature. That the normal brotherhood, what's different about it and stuff, and what do you actually see that brothers can do?
I think the difference is the ability to actually interact and talk with people and have that personal touch. One of the things that Brother Wages just mentioned was keeping in touch with your line brothers. My line has a monthly call that we do on Zoom, and we started out, right when the pandemic hit, I think in maybe April or May of last year, and it really helped us a lot because a lot of times you're closer with certain of the LBs than you are with others, especially if you have a pretty big line. And so this allowed all of us the opportunity to be there together, learn more about each other's families. And so in that regard, I think the pandemic has helped our brotherhood in that piece with my line. But when I look at our chapter, and I mean, we have well over 150 brothers in the chapter, it's difficult. I mean, because you're online, some brothers will tune into, meetings and so forth. Some may not. And so you lose that personal touch. And as you mentioned, Terence, you guys are new. I mean, you came in as the pandemic was hitting. And so we haven't had a in-person meeting with you all since you became alphas. And it's a difference. It's a big difference meeting in person than via Zoom or, as we do, Microsoft Teams. Just the interaction with the brothers, times after the meeting to socialize and just get to know brothers on a different level. And so we have the opportunity to still do some of those things, but just not as much as we would if the pandemic wasn't here.
Okay. Brother Bernat, what do you want to add to that?
So I think here's one of the things that the pandemic has taught us. It's taught us not to take things for granted. The times when the pandemic was not here and we had the opportunity to explore fellowshipping with one another, even outside of the meeting, sometimes we would go, sometimes we won't. But I think it has awakened us to the fact that we can't take things for granted. From my chapter, one of the things that we did, we started the Zoom calls. And I threw it out there the first time, and I just threw in about 20 brothers from my era to kind of join in on Zoom
Man, that's a
calls, see
long
what's
time
up.
era, boy. They didn't know how to get on the computer.
We still can do
Good
it. We still
Lord.
can do it. And so, but they
That's a
popped
good
on.
era.
When they popped on, they said, "Yo, where's my line brother?" I said, "You didn't send him the invite. That's on you." So by the time we had got full swing into the call, we had over 60 brothers from that era that had came into the Zoom call, and we fellowship, and we've been doing that. It's actually an idea that I got from the Bowie brothers, the Funk chapter, that they were doing, and so I threw it out there, pitched it out there, didn't know how it was going to flow, and so even on one of our calls, we've gotten up to about 100 and something brothers. That's kind of come in, and the thing about it is, I think even in our situation here at BNL, is that we have to be more intentional now as it relates to sharing with the brotherhood, as it relates to reaching out, as it relates to having conversation with them. Your brother, how you doing? You all right? Things of that nature. And when is possible, when the weather let up, go and check in on each other on a smaller setting. But you got to be more intentional. So we all are being challenged right now to do things that are a little bit different right now. But here's the great thing about the pandemic that I think, from a brotherhood perspective, it is a great opportunity to reclaim brothers. I say that because here we are in the middle of a pandemic, a lot of brothers that may not show up at a meeting or may not tap into what we're doing. If we're reaching those brothers through the virtual things that we are doing, it's a great opportunity to connect those brothers that have been inactive for a while, to get them back into the fold to see what we're doing. So again, I think the key thing right now is we have to be more intentional and we have to be authentic. Scripture in the Bible says that man must show himself friendly. We have to do that. We have to be intentional and be authentic in our approach to our reach for brotherhood. It ain't to get their checkbook and to get their money, but it's really to show a genuine concern about, hey, brother, how you doing?
Yeah, that's awesome. Brother Alan, I know you came in with one of the baddest lines.
Oh, Lord, here we go.
One of the baddest. Woo, boy.
Already.
All right. With TDO.
You're okay. You're okay.
That's what we do. But Brother Alan, I just talk about it because, a lot of the connection as far as becoming actual brotherhood, and I'm seeing some of the similarities with all of the actual lines and stuff, and coming, crossing in the pandemic, pretty much just starting, okay, and crossing. How has that technology and that commitment to basically Zoom online has helped the line? I'll let you talk about it, sir.
Being kind of in the midst of it beginning, having to begin kind of start utilizing technology beforehand, before the pandemic, was already kind of a struggle for me, especially with kind of us going through the process at that time, because it was difficult. But as time went on, with the assistance of my line brothers at that time, it helped kind of carry over So that brotherhood helped the transitioning into that technology piece kind of help that transition in a way. And then once we crossed and kind of got to the other side, you know, that's when the pandemic really hit. And I think when we had to utilize those technologies beforehand, we already had that basis kind of covered. And it kind of allowed us to kind of transition further into it without having to have a lot of hiccups and things, because we were already utilizing that to kind of meet with each other, kind of check in on each other and things in that nature, because we had a line, you know, of 19. So it was a pretty big line, you know. I think right when we were going over, I think that's when they had cut the number of people actually gathering to like 10, like 15 or something like that. So even as a line, we could not meet. So it was like, how can we make this work? How can we make each other feel like we're there for each other? We already started that process. We just didn't realize it until we actually got pushed into this pandemic. So
yeah, I think in a couple of days actually that they did actually cut the numbers in a couple of days. But what they did was they had limit, you know, as far as curfew was in place. Curfew was in place, but I think it was 50 individuals then. But then curfew was in place that crossover, no celebration. You know, everything was closed. Everything was closed and this and that and stuff. But I like the fact that you use we used the actual technology and stuff. Some of us didn't have to learn some of the technology than other eras, as we would call them, had to get involved with actually use them. But the technology is actually there. So, Brother Wade, do you actually agree then that right now going through this pandemic, that it's important for brothers to utilize technology to stay connected as much as possible?
Absolutely. And, you know, obviously staying connected and, you know, being able to actually see someone as opposed to just hear their voice is important. But I think Brother Bernie really touched on a point that, you know, maybe all of us can engage and leverage. You know, we go back and look at the roster of how many BNL brothers were made in the past 10 years, past 15 years or 20 years. And, you know, I'm very, very proud of the last line. I mean, you guys are phenomenal. Excellent group. And I'm proud of you. But
Brother Wade, just say it again. Say it again, Brother Wade. Just say it again right now, because I don't think that Brother Bernat heard you. Brother Bernat, this coming from the VP. Okay, now let's be quiet for a second. Go ahead, Brother Wade.
There are a few lines before that, you know, if your line brother is not in chapter meeting, we can use technology to help them engage. Oh, I can't get all the way down to meeting. You just have to get to your dining room table. I didn't know, you know, just come to meeting. So, you know, I again, back in '83, when the pandemic hit, I was the only one in my line that's active. Through technology and engaging and helping people to understand, all the excuses that you used to have really are now gone. 4 out of 6 are life members, and the 5th one, you know, the 6th one, he ain't coming back. I got him, but you know, I'll take 5 out of 6. You know, and at the end of the day, if we can engage technology and inspire our line brothers to be active wherever they are. It doesn't have to be with BNL, wherever they are, and choose that as a success. That is the mutual accountability that we held ourselves accountable to, that we all engaged in when we crossed together. So yeah, it's not only essential for making the existing chapter run, but for those of us that have been around for a minute, this is a new tool to help us to keep the commitment that we made to the rest of our line brothers.
Brother Widget, I kind of like that. And I noticed that Brother Turner's actually talked about his line. Brother Bunny's actually talking about this line. Do all you guys actually agree that this may be a great time? Because studies have actually said that meeting attendance has increased during the pandemic because of the lack of traveling time and going here and going to school and stuff, and more people are doing more meetings because of the transition from this time to that time all online. So do you think it's actually a good thing, time that our brothers make an effort during the pandemic, at least start with a consistent, I think Brother Turner is actually saying monthly, I guess is what everybody doing, at least monthly with your line, starting there with your line. Is that correct?
Yeah. That's how we do it currently. And one of the things that the chapters does, and I like what Bernie said earlier, because we tried to do it as a chapter, and we were not successful getting all of the different eras to do it at the same time. And so we had to then shift to those of us who came through in the 80s, and we did 80s and early 90s. And then after that, I'm assuming those other groups decided to do it. But I wish we would have been able to continue doing it as a full Musada chapter. I mean, why couldn't we do it from the 70s to 2020? But I know we all have different things that are happening, and we look at things differently. But I think that's something that we should have been able to do. But even if we couldn't do that, I'm appreciative of the fact that we are able to do it in the era that I came in, right before me and right after me. And so that allows us that connection that we didn't have as much before COVID, because we would see each other maybe at homecoming or at a chapter reunion. But other than that, we weren't on a monthly basis talking and seeing each other. And so the pandemic has allowed us to do that. And it has helped us to, as Brother Wages said, really get in touch with, what we did, why we did it, and the big picture. Now, I wish I could have, Brother Wages said 5 or 6. You can't beat, really, other than that, you can have 100%. But, it's 12 of us. It's actually 11 now. One is deceased, and 5 of the 11 is active. So we're not halfway, but we're trying to get there. And so we've got some work to do on my line. Now, I'm pleased to say a lot of the other chapter members are active as well. And so it's important, I think, during this pandemic, Bernie hit it on the nose. We've got to make sure that we are being authentic when we talk. One of my line brothers, and I'll say this and shut up. When we were online, everything, we all knew him, but he just really didn't let you in. I'll put it that way. So it was everything was surface. He was a Morehead scholar. He was, and that's one of the major scholarships at the school. And so, he was he was over the top smart, went on to law school. He's a judge now. But our first initial meeting, this guy talked probably 30 minutes and wouldn't stop. And he told us everything about his family and all. It was just, and so one of my line brothers was texting me, and he was like, "Man, I ain't never heard this guy talk like this." He said, "This dude must really be happy to see us." And so we learned a lot more about him in that 30 minutes than we had known in 30 years. And so it was just amazing, the interaction that we continue to have. And so we meet, like I said, on Saturday at 7:00, and we may finish up at 11:00. We had one meeting, or one night we went to 2 a.m. in the morning.
Yep.
And and it's just talking. We just shooting the breeze, telling lies, reminiscing over stuff that happened 30 years ago. And so, it's just a lot.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that structure. How is that structure of that meeting? Are we coming with the ties, the alpha tie? Yeah. How you coming?
We come in dressed like we are now. There's no, actually for us, we have no structure. My line has no structure. Now we have our chapter, the era, we do have a little more structure, but we talk about anything. We talk about politics, you name it. Of course, the latest with the elections and all of that. We have two of my line brothers are ministers, and so I mean, we start out with prayer, and then we start giving testimonies. Then I mean, we just do it all. We're all over the place, but it's good. It's good for us.
Brotherhood.
So,
Yeah.
Brother Bernie, you have something to say?
yeah. So the thing about that is a few things. Um, One of the things I found out, there were some brothers that I had not spoken with for at least 20 years. That was in my era, that popped in on this call, and we picked up seemingly just like where we left off, in terms of the relationship, in terms of the kinship, in terms of the brotherhood. Um, and that was kind of mind blowing to me. But what we actually did in Thomas' situation, once we got everybody on the call, we started with the older brothers in the chapter that went through the chapter, and we came all the way up every line that was on that call. You know, greet us, tell us what's going on with you. We gave everybody the opportunity to talk and say what was going on with them. We laughed. Of course, we cut jokes about some of the lion names and all of that. But it was just real. So it kind of broke down, all the formalities, all the, hey brothers, where you been while you ain't been active? It cut through all of that because we were just being brothers. We was just being
Awesome.
brothers. And the thing about it is, on that first call, where you said he had 5 or 6. Well, see, on my line, when we started out, we had 10. We only had 3 to cross. But in just about every setting, stop rubbing your head. But
We ain't saying that.
we only had 3 to cross. That was a different era.
Different time.
Started out with 10, 3 cross. But even in the 3 that cross, one of the things that's unique about us is we all have different personalities. And so for me, back then, there was a huncho of the line. So I was the huncho. I was in charge of the line. So I went from 10 down to a number 3. And when we had these calls, especially that initial call, I was the only one from my line that was on that call. Did the invitation go to my line brothers? Of course. But for me, it has always been kind of that way for me. So don't get so caught up into, you know, your line brothers not being there, because we
That's
are
good.
brotherhood.
That's good.
Okay. And so the brotherhood will extend beyond your line. And realistically, there may even be some people that you're going to get just as close with on your line. I got some brothers that pledge me. And when I say they pledge me, they pledge me,
10 to
you
3.
know. Uh, no, 9 to 5. That's 9 at night to 5 in the morning. um, that pledge me. But I'm just as tight with them as I am with my line brothers, because of the relationship that we built beyond when I was pledging, And so that especially with the new brothers, this is the thing that I would encourage you, is to find that relationship with brothers that were not a part of your line, because what you're going to find is you're going to learn a whole lot more things. They're going to connect you with other brothers in the organization that you're going to be impressed with. That's going to help you to network with. But more importantly, they're going to show you a piece of the brotherhood, especially because in the pandemic, you guys didn't get to experience that from us like we really was hoping to do. You didn't get that, but they're going to connect you with other brothers, and they're going to show you a point of the brotherhood that sometimes it's going to be mind blowing. That's why you can see us joke with each other. That's why you can. I'm gonna shut up on this. Why you can see me always getting on Thomas saying I played you better than that. We didn't go to the same school, you know. We was about 45 minutes to an hour apart. But did I show up? I sure did. And did he remember me from showing up? He sure does to this day. He's still kind of salty about that, but he's gonna be all right. We're gonna put him through that. But here's the thing about it is, you will meet brothers and you will form relationship with brothers that you may not see for years.
Yeah.
But when you see them again, you pick right back up, just like you never stopped talking to each other. So in this pandemic, that's what I'm finding. You know, I'm reconnecting with a lot of brothers that I had not talked to in years, and we're picking up and we're having, even outside of the phone calls, we're having conversations with each other's, like, you know, that's kind of mind blowing to me right now.
Okay.
Yeah,
Before
Bernie,
I go
that's
to Brother Wages, Brother Allen, talk a little bit about, because actually they said a lot and stuff, you going in, how this technology has really gotten you closer with the brothers that you didn't even know really close going through, but through the Zoom calls that was done on a weekly basis that we've done, how close are you now by using that technology with the brothers?
I mean, I'll be honest, we're closer than I think we were when we were going through it. You know, I think the biggest thing is because honestly, after we crossed over, you know, a lot of us were sick. You know, a lot of us got sick, and it was us leaning on one another that really brought us together, because you know we all went through this together. We all kind of got ill together, and now it's like, whoa, I really can confide and, you know, talk to this guy that I just went through with all this. It's like
That God is
it
me, you
allowed
go
us
frozen.
to really
Okay.
open up.
You go frozen.
So it allowed me, and again, like with you, T-Hawk, once we crossed over, it would be, if it was a meeting and it was just us, we would make that thing go for 2 hours, just talking, just reminiscing, just talking about what we went through together as a line, and as individuals. It brought us closer because we were able to share a lot more things with more time. You feel what I'm saying? So, and that was another thing. I didn't have to drive to you. All I had to do was log on my computer or pick up my phone, and we had those conversations. We were able to have those laughs. We were able to have those moments of brotherhood. And that, I think that is what really brought us together, was being able to have those moments very quickly, and that in turn brought us very much closer. So
I agree. Brother Wages.
Yeah. So similar to Brother Allen's comment and Brother Bernie's, you know, when our chapter Zoom call, you know, I got a chance to reconnect with, you know, one of the brothers that used to come around a lot, you know, when I was an undergrad, but he crossed in 77. Well, after I left Maryland, I never saw him again because, you know, he wasn't in that crew, and he was one that was just coming back, but got a chance to reconnect with him. And then actually had a chance to develop, you know, at least an understanding of, maybe not relationship with, but an understanding of who some of my chapter founders were. We were founded in 74. I think, Thomas, your chapter was in 74 also. Am I correct? 73, 74?
76.
Okay. All right. So around the same time.
Yeah, 76.
So we got a chance to, I got a chance to at least understand who they are. But to Brother Bernie's point, you know, there is a group of us that have remained close over the years, and they're not all my line brothers. There are 6 or 8 of us that'll get together, you know, once a year to play golf. I mean, we'll travel down to New Orleans or Texas or wherever, but it's 2 from 83, 2 from 84, 2 from 85, 2 from 86. It just happened to work out that way. And if I think about my undergraduate brothers that I'm closest with and have been close to long term, it's really that group. When, you know, when somebody's having distress, that's the group text that I go to first. I'll go and talk to the rest of my line brothers, but those are the ones who I'm close with, and those are the ones who we stay through, not through Zoom, and that group is primarily text. And we don't get together obviously, but the fact of the matter is though the relationship, the closeness is not just with my line, it's with brothers, and we're in a chapter, and the 19 of you have opportunities to develop relationships with some of us that have been around for a long time, or some of those other brothers that were made in 60s and 70s. Okay, so and have the benefit of that also.
Awesome. Brother Turner, you had a question, I believe.
Yeah, I did. And so I'm looking for help. And this group right here, I think, can help me when we start talking about brotherhood. One of the things, and I didn't mention it when we first were introducing ourselves, I'm an advisor at Johnson C. Smith. And so we brought in 11 guys right as the pandemic hit as well, came in with you guys, Terence and Marcus. And so on one of our calls we had recently, one of the guys mentioned that they really don't feel like they have the brotherhood that they need because they went home as soon as they crossed, and they haven't been back to campus. And they're not coming back this spring. And so, I could empathize with them. I couldn't say I understand because I haven't been in that position, but I could empathize with them because it is difficult. It's not an easy task. And so what I find myself and DJ, because DJ is the other advisor, is trying to figure out things that we can do. And this is where I'm saying I need you guys' help, and anyone who's listening that can chime in on activities and things that we can do because they're going to be virtual, to strengthen the brotherhood. And then one of the key pieces about it, of the 11, 7 are graduating this spring, and we'll have 4 coming back in the fall. And so one of the guys said, "Well, we don't even know the people who are in school that we're going to be trying to pick from," and so it's totally different now. And so it's one of those things that we never had to experience, Bernie and Ron, because we were there on campus. And so we know how being on campus and being in a chapter, now being virtual and not having that interaction. And we're talking about young guys. So the only one in this group is Marcus, is young, because Terence may be young in alpha, but he's old in age. So
Come on, man.
how would I, or how should we tackle that type of situation?
Brother Allen, you want to actually talk about that since he don't call me out?
I
want everybody to answer that one.
Okay.
Well, and I do thank you for asking that question, because that honestly, that's something that I've kind of heard from a few of the younger brothers of how they feel about that, not being able to really, I guess, from what they've seen before, they crossed over on campus versus now being over and having to kind of deal with how the pandemic has kind of changed everything. Honestly, the biggest thing I would say that they would have to do is kind of, like what we're doing with our line is we try to make sure we create events or do things that we can invite people to, just to hang out, just to talk, just to allow a chance for everyone to see each other's face. I think that's just in general something that people just need. It's not just about, oh, well, I just need to talk to you, or, that came out wrong. It's not just about, hey, I just need this. It's really like, I want to hear how you're doing. I want to show you something. I want to help you build something, like how we were talking about having purpose and things when we're having these conversations. I think they need to have that as well with events and just really think outside of the box, because this is what this pandemic is doing for everybody, having us think outside the box. And we just have to really sit down and work together, young and old.
I would say here as Brother Turner, invitation to younger, new brother, okay, as well as, because on our line, we had brothers of age 22 up to 48 years of age. So it's a broad spectrum actually there. But invitation, I think, now is important because, especially actually, Neo, you don't know what to expect or what, not even the official live meeting yet, right? And not knowing this person, not knowing that person, not knowing who to talk to, who to not talk to. So an invitation from someone, a brother that's already in, to invite them to something is important. Invitations work. Example, you guys were invited to Go Table Talk and say, yes, I'm here and doing this. It's something about invitation to something. So even when you actually thinking about, you having a chapter call, you're having the line call or whatever it is, how about that extra invitation, to some of the lines and the brothers, because they will be, and I can tell them actually there, those actually listen, we'll be invited to Go Table Talk because we're going to talk about it. This is where we come to talk about it. Okay. This is where we come to talk about it, but to have an invitation of, hey, we're having this online. They haven't had the structure online. They hadn't put it together. They hadn't those things of that nature. So, hey, let's have, AO saying, hey, let's do a whole AO thing. Bring that together for them as well and invite them to it. How about the ambassadors that's coming up stuff and invite all of them to it or whatever, just to get individuals involved. I think an invitation is actually one of the big things. Brother Wages, I think you was going to say something, sir.
Yeah. So I was in the middle of a thought, then I saw the comment in Facebook, and it kind of fed into maybe a way to initiate my idea. I'll read the comment first. I think team building, best practices still apply. Get the chapter together online for a virtual variety show, have a poem recitation event, best solo stepper event, something like that. And the invitation comment. Thomas, you've got the unique position of having been around BNL for a while and knowing a lot of the brothers very well. An opportunity for me to connect with an undergraduate brother, to coach, to mentor, to be a brother to help them to, get connected, to find a job is something I would really enjoy. Now, the challenge is I'm not trained to deal with undergraduates. As you know, my thought process of how things could or should be are not actually correct in current day alpha. So you have to be discerning on who
you're in that old era too. You're in that old era.
I am. The rules were very different, and they're better now, but I don't know all the undergraduate rules. So maybe there's an opportunity to set up a framework for brothers that are willing to coach, maybe not qualified to be a grad advisor, because that's not me. That's not my calling. But to engage with a young brother to help them be prepared, to get connected, to find a job, whether it's an internship or I would love to do that. But I'm going to need a coaching session to say, Ron, you can't do this. There's no such thing as sweethearts. Don't tell those guys to do this. Don't tell those guys to do that. Those are the things that I would. The rules are different. Now,
got a lot of work to do with him.
Well, my point is, if there is a young brother that's looking for brotherhood, there are a lot of brothers in our chapter that can do that. And it's best if it's virtual. I'm not driving all the way up to Davidson. I'm not doing that. But I'll get online and talk to those cats.
Yeah.
Okay. And it could be one or two, or what's your background, blah, blah, blah. Especially if it's somebody that's looking to go into a technology field, wants to get connected in this area or that area. We've been around for a minute. We have network. We have no problem making it available to them. But we haven't, and I put myself in there, haven't made ourselves available to help connect the dots. So with the proper coaching, that may be an alternative. Using the comment that was in Facebook, inviting them, but also doing something that's just, we're not going to have a mentoring program. It's really, we're all going to show up to this variety show, team building, something, and maybe have the opportunity to connect with somebody for a comment or something that they've made. Just an idea.
So kind of piggybacking on that. So for BNL 2020, especially for the college brothers, you guys, you've already tapped into what you need to do to stay connected. You've already grabbed hold of that concept, and you're moving with it. So I talked a little bit earlier about being intentional, and it's not just for your line, but even for the rest of us in BNL with our collegiate brothers. We're using technology. Why are just the advisors tapping into reaching out to our undergraduate brothers? That could be something that we can do also to build those relationships. Because once you build relationships, everything else is going to fall into place. The brotherhood is about building relationships. You build relationships, it's going to take care of all the other work that we have to do. Why? Because when you got a relationship with somebody, even when you don't feel like going, if certain brothers said, I'm going to be there, guess what you're going to do? You're going to make even a more of an effort to come because you want to be in fellowship with those brothers. And because I said 2020, because you guys kind of went through this process together, they know you more than they know us, so to speak. And so be intentional about inviting them to the dance, making them feel comfortable, reaching out to them even when they haven't reached out to you, to show love, to show that you're concerned, to show that brotherhood that extends beyond your particular chapter, that invites them to the dance, invite them to the conversation. I mean, when the weather changed, hey, if you got something going on that's outside or whatever, make sure you include, we got to include them into it, because that's how they're going to see what this brotherhood really is about. If we continue to exclude them and to form our own cliques, brotherhood ain't about cliques. It's really about the brothers, regardless of where they pledge, regardless of when they pledge, regardless of, all of that. It tears down all those boundaries, and it causes us to come together to have authentic relationships with one another.
I tell you what, brothers, I definitely appreciate each and every one of you being on the line. We actually pulling up actually towards an hour here on Old Gold Table Talk. Actually, what I'm actually hearing, brothers that's out there, if we can actually start with a virtual building brotherhood, all on virtual with your line. Start it with your line, get a consistent time every month. But then we can move up towards what? Your chapter. Start the chapter, build it up, invite others in the chapter. Then what I'm hearing, because as the other brothers, how about your cluster? Build it up. Have that. Talk, communicate. Prime example, Brother Allen, actually, what do you actually think about, the cluster of last year going through the pandemic? And then if you had a call with the cluster of everybody, spring 20.
For me, I definitely would love that. And just to add real quick, when you guys were talking, I was just like, you know what? I want to talk to my sand. So I already now put in an invitation into our group me, because that shows me that we have to have someone that wants to initiate that. And once someone starts to spark, I feel like that flame will grow, especially for the brothers, at least my Sands and those that crossed over with me and T-Hawk for Spring 20. And I'm hoping that, if we start it now, one or two might join, but over time, it'll grow, and we can make that grow even further and hopefully keep it going.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Guys, I think this has been an awesome conversation. I want to appreciate each and every one of you actually joining on tonight, stuff giving you time. Brother Wages, thank you, sir. Brother Brandon, Brother Turney, Brother Allen, actually, thank you all for actually joining. Guys, let's commit. Let's commit. If y'all can actually put something in the comments that, hey, I commit. Whether you're watching it live, whether you're watching on replay, commit. Commit. If you're not starting one, get involved with some online conversation, whether you're line, whether you're a chapter, whether you're a cluster, just get in line actually with that. We can say BNL. We can say on what? On the 19th of the month, okay? On the 19th of the month, we have something always on 19th of the month. Used to be, guys, is rebranded, was actually the Brotherhood Smoke, but it's the Brotherhood what? What is it? Brotherhood something? No, not the Brotherhood Smoke anymore. It's the Brotherhood Social. I'm sorry. Brotherhood Social. I know we just changed it. This is going to be the first month. I run it. I'm like, what is it? Brotherhood Social, guys. The Brotherhood actually Social is starting up and stuff. So everybody from actually being there to actually listen, join us on the Brotherhood Social, guys, as we do our part also to basically create brotherhood even during this pandemic. All right. Brothers, I appreciate you, Ashley, again. Please, Ashley, hold on as we end the call. With that being said, this is T-Call. I'm out. 06, brothers. Take care.